Hi everybody, Mr. E back here again, and I am going to do a quick fish lesson with you. I thought that would be good since we've read 2 fish books so far, that a fish lesson would be completely and perfectly appropriate for this time. Now, I'm going to start with something that younger artists could do and hopefully scaffold it upwards so that older students will get something out of this as well. Remember, you can always make changes and do it differently than I do. It is art, and you are welcome to bring your personal experience and ideas to the mix. I'm just showing you a way. All right? So we're going to start with a fish shape. Now, the basic shape of a fish would be an oval. Now, don't worry if your oval is not perfect. Mine looks kind of weird right there. It's all right. Every fish is different too. So maybe your oval is perfect for the fish that you're making. So that's the basic shape of a fish, an oval. Another shape that we use on a fish is a circle. And then you can put a little circle on the inside for the eye. Now you can do the mouth different ways, but I like to put some kissy lips on it. Mwah. Be good for the Pout Pout Fish book, huh? Then, the next shape that we would use would be a what? Yep, triangle. The dorsal fin, which is the top fin, you can go up, kind of like a wave almost. You can also cut it off right here if you want and make kind of a leaning rectangle type shape. It looks like a mohawk. But either way is fine. And then we do a triangle for the tail. And another triangle. And then we can put a triangle right here. I like to add some more details to my fish. The lines give it just a little bit of texture. Texture is the way that something feels. Now, in our second story, Fish is Fish by Leo Leone, we saw towards the end of the story that fish needed to be in the water because that's how fish breathe. And they breathe through something called gills. So I'm going to put just a few gills right back here so my fishy can breathe. Now, if you want some bubbles to come out, that's fine. You can do that however you see fit. Now, our fish looks kind of weird in just this big emptiness. So we can add some details to our picture. Maybe put some sand at the bottom. Maybe we can put some seaweed. And that was just a wave line. You guys can do that. Wave line. And then I can come back. I'm going to do another wave line. It's just got a little wiggle to it. I'm going to come up in here and add some oval shapes. Ovals can be used for a lot of things, huh? We use it for the fish's body, and now we're using it to make some seaweed. I like that seaweed. Seaweed can be done different ways, though. There's not just one way to do seaweed. If you want, you can use triangle shapes. It kind of looks like grass. That's what seaweed kind of is like, grass in a way, huh? Now, I have lines in mine because I'm using a Sharpie. It's easier for you to see if I use a Sharpie. But if you're using a pencil, then you would erase these marks. Because even when we color, sometimes those marks don't disappear on us. So if you're using a pencil, erase those extra little lines because the grass is not see-through, is it? Nope. So for a younger artist, kindergarten, maybe first grade, or if you want to try this with preschoolers, this is a good start. And then you could let them color. All right? With whatever color materials you have at home, crayons, markers, color pencils, whatever you got. Now, If I was working with my older artists, I would expect a little bit more from them. I would ask for more details because details, make our picture more interesting. So maybe I'll put some rocks and put a starfish on my rock. Now, if you're not sure how to draw a starfish or how to draw stars, let me show you a quick trick. Make a circle, triangle, 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 triangle. That's kind of wonky. Oh well, it's okay. Then I would erase this circle because starfish don't really look like that, do they? They've got a little bit chubbier arms and head and legs. So you want to make sure that you kind of give them that thickness that they need to look like a starfish. If you want to draw it without the circle, that's totally cool. But that circle will help you if you are struggling, okay? And it's totally awesome to use tools like that to do a good job. Okay? All of us have little tricks that we use to be good artists, and that might be your trick that you need. Now, as I was saying, if we're working with older artists, this page is kind of flat right now. There's not a lot of what we would call dimension to it. It's kind of like just a foreground. So we might come into our picture and add a little more. Do you know some of the tallest mountains in the world are underwater? It's true. You can put some kind of mountains or hills in the water. This will give it some depth, meaning space. It looks like we can go back farther. Also, this will allow us to have a space to create some other things. Maybe in the distance, there's a sunken pirate ship that I can put in my picture. Okay? Just something like that. Doesn't have to be too fancy. Maybe you have a broken mast. You know those tall poles that are on the pirate ships? And you can just use a zigzag line to show that it's broken. And then I'm going to make a crow's nest back here in the back. Whatever you want to add to it. Maybe I'll show some of the sail still there, kind of just resting in the water. But if I have a broken pirate ship in there, maybe I'd want to put treasure too. So if you want to put treasure in your picture, you can. You don't have to, though. I want to come over here, add another rock. And then I'm going to just kind of indicate some sand. Now, I don't want to sit here and make all these little dots and stuff to show sand because, oh my goodness, that would take forever. But another detail I could add to my picture is some scales to my fish. Now, if you want to take the time to cover your whole fish, you can. Or maybe you'll just add some scales, some letter C's into your picture to indicate that they're scales. Indicating just means that by drawing some, it lets the viewer know that the body is covered in scales. You don't have to draw all of them. You could just draw some of them. And then we just kind of see that whole thing as scales because we know that fish are covered in scales, right? So our picture's looking pretty good. We got some detail in here. We could add some more if we want. I'm going to let you do that, though. Let's talk about coloring real quick. Now, when you color large areas... Sorry, I'm opening up my box of crayons. See? New box. It's always fun to open a new box. When you're coloring a large area, I always find that it's best to try to color in one direction. So I'm going to color horizontally. Now you want to make sure you're working on a smooth surface, because if not, if there's lumps and bumps where you're working, then it's going to show through. So I'm going to color the whole water horizontal. It just will make my picture look nicer and neater. So I'm not going to take the time to do that right now, but I would expect you guys to do that. And for my fish, you know, my young artists, I definitely would expect them to color their fish really nicely. They might make it kind of a solid color. But my older artists, I'd want them to kind of play with color a little bit. Like maybe here on the fins, I'll use a red. And if you notice, I'm coloring each section by itself. Like this. And I'm not doing it all exactly the same either. It just looks better when you have a little bit of variation in that, where you change it up a little bit for each of the sections. Well, then I'm going to come back in, and I went from red to orange. I'm going to go over the red a little bit. And in these smaller sections, I'm going to go all the way up to the top. But then as the sections get a little bigger, I'll go over the red, so I get a nice red-orange, and then I get just orange. But I'm going to leave some white, because the last color I'm going to add is a yellow. So it kind of looks like he's on fire. My fishy's on fire. Well, that wouldn't be good, would it? But his fin will look really, really awesome. Last color for the fin. And this is like a gradation of color. These colors are related. Red and yellow make orange. So we know those three colors will look really good together when they mix. All right? So that's what I expect some of my older artists to do. Because you guys are awesome and you have more experience than our young artists. You can do great things like that. All right? So hopefully I'll get to see some fish lessons or fish pictures online. Have your parents share them with me. I would love to see them. All right? Until next time, guys, have fun creating art.